Did you know there's a time of day when your brain is far more vulnerable to a stroke, and it happens exactly within the first 30 minutes after you wake up? It sounds unbelievable, but it's during this quiet stretch, when you're still stretching, getting out of bed, or rushing straight to your coffee, that the risks dramatically increase. And the scariest part is that most people over 60 have no idea. Even those who take their medications correctly, eat well, and try to stay active may still be putting their health at risk because of small morning habits. But here's the good news. Research shows that just a few simple adjustments to your morning routine can reduce stroke risk by up to 50%. Small actions, easy to apply, capable of completely changing how your brain and heart face the day. Now, stop for a moment and think. Have you ever woken up feeling dizzy, stood up with that heavy-headed feeling, or maybe forgotten to take your blood pressure medication first thing in the morning? If any of this sounds familiar, this video is for you. My name is Dr. Vitalis, and today I'll reveal the 8 most powerful morning habits to protect your brain, improve circulation, and strengthen your health. These are simple, natural, science-backed practices that can make all the difference in your quality of life. Stay with me until the end, because beyond learning these habits, you'll see how small daily choices can turn your mornings into a true shield against stroke. Have you ever stopped to think about what happens to your body while you sleep? During the night, even at rest, we naturally lose water through breathing and sweating. The result is that when we wake up, our body is in a mild state of dehydration, and for anyone over 60, that can be dangerous. When the body is dehydrated, the blood becomes thicker, more dense, and this makes circulation harder. Imagine your arteries as highways. The thicker the blood, the harder it is to flow. And it's precisely during that first half hour in the morning, when the risk is already higher, that this condition can favor the formation of clots, one of the main causes of stroke. But there is a simple, natural, and immediate solution. Drink a glass of water right after waking up. Not coffee, not tea, not sugary juices, just plain room temperature water. This small act, which takes less than 30 seconds, helps rehydrate the body, makes your blood flow more smoothly, and gets your circulation moving. On top of that, water plays a fundamental role in kidney function, helping flush out toxins that accumulate overnight. And for anyone who takes medication in the morning, it is essential since it ensures proper absorption. Without water, your treatment may simply not have the effect you expect. Here's an interesting fact. Studies show that many people who feel dizzy, weak, or complain about a heavy head upon rising are not necessarily suffering from aging, but from plain dehydration. In other words, one glass of water can be enough to completely transform how you start your day. If you want to boost it even more, you can add a few drops of lemon. It helps digestion, improves circulation, and even gives you a gentle energy kick. But remember, plain water alone is already powerful enough to protect your brain and your heart. And here's a practical tip. Always keep a glass or bottle of water by your bedside. That way, before your feet even touch the floor, you've already taken the first step towards a healthier, safer day. Now that we've talked about hydration, let's move on to another point that's often overlooked but can make all the difference: controlling stress in the morning. Have you noticed that many times, even before you get out of bed, your mind is already racing? The to-do list, medical appointments, messages you need to send, family concerns, bills to pay? This rush of thoughts triggers the release of a hormone called cortisol, better known as the stress hormone. The problem is that in people over 60, high levels of cortisol early in the morning can raise blood pressure, increase inflammation in the body, and put extra strain on the arteries that supply blood to the brain. It's as if the body is thrown into a state of full alert, when in reality, it should be waking up gradually and calmly. But here's the good news. There is a very simple, natural, and immediate solution: deep, mindful breathing. Just 5 minutes every morning can lower blood pressure, calm the heart, and improve blood flow to the brain. Here's how to do it. Sit comfortably, close your eyes, and inhale slowly through your nose while counting to 4. Hold your breath for 4 seconds, then exhale slowly through your mouth for 4 seconds. Repeat this cycle for 5 minutes. This practice helps relax the nervous system, open blood vessels, and even improves focus and mental clarity throughout the day. Many seniors who adopted this habit report that not only do they feel more energized in the morning, but they also sleep better at night. And the best part? You don't need apps, expensive equipment, or complicated techniques. It's just you, your breath, and a little bit of stillness. So tomorrow, before rushing out of bed, give it a try. Give yourself 5 minutes of peace. Your heart, your brain, and your circulation will thank you. Now that we've talked about breathing and stress control, let's move on to a point that many seniors overlook, but that can silently increase the risk of stroke right at the start of the day: breakfast. You might be thinking, but doctor, I don't eat fried food in the morning, I don't eat fast food, what could be wrong? Well, here's the catch. Many common breakfast foods, like bread with cheese, processed cereals, instant soups, or even deli meats like ham and turkey breast, are loaded with sodium. And here's the detail. Right after waking up, the body is more vulnerable. After 7 to 8 hours of sleep, your blood vessels are more constricted and your body tends to be slightly dehydrated. If at that moment you consume a salty food, your blood pressure can spike and put extra strain on your arteries and heart. And if you already suffer from hypertension, this combo is even more dangerous, like throwing gasoline on the fire. But there's a simple way to change that. Choose low-sodium, nutrient-rich breakfast options. Here are a few examples. Oatmeal with fresh fruit, like banana or apple. Boiled eggs with sautéed vegetables. A natural smoothie made with spinach, banana, and plain yogurt. Whole grain toast with avocado and a touch of lemon. To add flavor, use natural herbs and spices like cinnamon, turmeric, ginger, or even a drizzle of olive oil instead of salt. And of course, avoid processed meats like bacon, sausage, and salami at breakfast. Besides salt, they contain preservatives that inflame the body and harm circulation. Small swaps make a huge difference. What you put on your plate in the morning can either protect your arteries or, without realizing it, put them at risk. So remember, keeping sodium under control early in the day is one of the most powerful steps to lower stroke risk and start your day with more energy and health. After understanding the importance of controlling salt at breakfast, we now come to a habit that can completely transform the way your body reacts in the early hours: the morning walk. Think about it. You've spent 7 to 8 hours sleeping. Your body has been practically still the entire time. If the first thing you do upon waking is sit at the table or on the couch for another hour, your circulation remains sluggish, blood doesn't flow as it should, and this quietly increases the risk of cardiovascular problems, including stroke. But there's a simple, accessible solution. Just 10 to 15 minutes of light walking in the morning. And it doesn't need to be intense. A short walk around the block, a stroll in your yard, or even walking inside your house is enough to get your heart moving and oxygen flowing to your brain. This simple activity wakes up circulation and keeps blood more fluid, increases oxygen supply to the brain, supporting mental clarity and memory, improves cholesterol and insulin sensitivity, reduces inflammation, and helps keep arteries flexible. And here's another important detail: morning sunlight. Going for a walk early in the day exposes you to natural light, which helps regulate your biological clock, improving sleep cycles and boosting energy throughout the day. Studies show that seniors who walk regularly, even short distances, significantly reduce their risk of both ischemic and hemorrhagic strokes. On top of that, walking supports balance, improves mood, and helps maintain independence longer. So don't underestimate this habit. Moving your body first thing in the morning is like sending a wake-up call to your heart and brain, preparing them for a much healthier, more protected day. After your morning walk, we come to a step that most people overlook, but it makes a huge difference for circulation and brain health: stretching your neck and shoulders right after waking up. It might sound small, but the truth is this area plays a crucial role in blood flow to the brain. When you wake up with stiffness in your neck or tension in your shoulders, something very common for people over 60, the muscles can subtly compress the arteries that carry blood to your head. This reduces circulation, increases dizziness, and over time may raise the risk of problems like vertebrobasilar insufficiency, a lesser-known type of stroke. The good news is that just 3 minutes of simple stretching can release this tension and ensure blood flows freely. You can start with gentle neck rotations, first one way and then the other, slowly and without rushing. Then shrug your shoulders up and release them down several times, followed by rolling them forward and backward.
These simple movements relax muscles that tighten overnight, improve blood circulation to the brain, help reduce dizziness when getting out of bed, leave your mind clearer and more awake in the early hours. Many seniors report that after adding this small habit to their routine, they feel lighter, less tired in the morning, and more energized for daily activities. And the best part? You don't need any equipment. It costs nothing, and you can even do it sitting on your bed. A simple, natural practice that gives your brain the oxygen and energy it needs to start the day safely. After taking care of circulation with some stretches, we arrive at one of the most important habits that can literally save lives: checking your blood pressure every morning. High blood pressure is known as the silent killer because it often shows no warning signs until it causes something serious, like a stroke or heart attack. Especially after the age of 60, it's crucial to monitor your numbers closely because blood pressure naturally tends to spike in the morning, making that time of day particularly risky for both the brain and the heart. Here's the good news. Taking your blood pressure is quick, simple, and takes less than 2 minutes. The best time to do it is within the first hour after waking up, before breakfast, or even before coffee. That way, you'll get a clear picture of your body's condition at its most vulnerable time. Use an upper arm monitor, which is more reliable than wrist devices. Write down your readings in a notebook or track them in a simple app. This helps you follow your progress over time and identify any patterns. This habit helps you detect dangerous changes early, give your doctor real data instead of just symptoms, adjust habits or medications when needed, cut your risk of complications like strokes and heart problems by up to 50%. Many seniors who've adopted this practice say they feel more confident each day because they know exactly where their health stands before leaving the house. So if you don't already do this, why not start tomorrow? It's a small step that can make a huge difference in protecting your independence and quality of life. After understanding the importance of monitoring blood pressure, we now arrive at a point that often goes unnoticed but is essential: starting your morning with minerals that protect your arteries and your brain. Right after waking up, your body is more sensitive. Your blood vessels are still tight after hours of sleep, and if you're lacking the right minerals like potassium and magnesium, this tension may remain high, raising blood pressure and restricting healthy circulation to the brain. Potassium acts like a natural sodium balancer, helping flush out excess salt from the body and reducing blood pressure. Magnesium, on the other hand, relaxes and widens blood vessels, allowing blood to flow more smoothly. Together, these two minerals form a protective shield against the morning blood pressure spikes that can increase stroke risk. So, where can you get them? It's simpler than you might think. A banana at breakfast already gives you a strong dose of potassium. Spinach, added to a smoothie or scrambled eggs, is an excellent source of magnesium. Avocado on whole grain toast brings both minerals together. A serving of plain yogurt topped with pumpkin seeds or chia can turn your morning into a functional meal. Even a small handful of walnuts or almonds makes a difference. This doesn't have to be complicated or expensive. Small swaps in your breakfast can significantly lower your stroke risk and strengthen both your heart and your brain. Remember, it's not about creating the perfect meal, but about adding foods that truly nourish and protect your body. After talking about the importance of minerals, we now arrive at something that may seem almost too simple, but it's one of the most decisive steps to protect your brain and your life: taking your blood pressure medication at the right time. Many people underestimate this habit. Sometimes they think, "I feel fine today. I don't need to take the pill now. I'll take it later." But that later can come at a very high cost. Blood pressure naturally rises in the early morning hours, the most dangerous period for anyone already living with hypertension. And it's during this window that most strokes occur. When you delay or forget your medication, you give space for your pressure to spike without warning. And the worst part, you don't feel anything. That's why high blood pressure is called the silent killer. No pain, no obvious symptoms, but very real, immediate risk.
Taking your pill in the morning, as soon as you wake up, is like putting on a shield of protection before starting your day. It keeps your blood pressure under control, allowing your blood to circulate without damaging your arteries and your heart. A practical tip is to keep a pill organizer by your bedside or set an alarm on your phone. Today, there are even apps that remind you, track your history, and help you stay consistent. What truly matters is discipline and consistency. And remember, never stop or change a medication on your own just because you feel fine. That feeling of being fine only exists because the medication is working. Any changes should always be guided by your doctor. This habit is quick, free, and takes less than a minute, but it can reduce your stroke risk by up to 50%. Think about it. Less than 60 seconds that could guarantee you years of life with independence, memory, and health preserved. We've reached the end of this journey through the 8 morning habits that can reduce your risk of stroke by up to 50%. Think about it. We're not talking about expensive medications or complicated treatments, but about simple actions that easily fit into your daily routine. Drinking a glass of water as soon as you wake up, practicing a few minutes of deep breathing, avoiding too much salt at breakfast, moving your body, stretching your neck and shoulders, checking your blood pressure, reinforcing your diet with key minerals, and of course, taking your medication at the right time. They may seem small, but together, these habits create a powerful shield for your heart, your arteries, and most importantly, your brain. And remember, knowing these habits isn't enough. You need to put them into practice. Start with 2 tomorrow, then gradually add the others. Consistency is what transforms simple tips into lasting results. If you value your independence, your memory, and the chance to live many more years with energy and mental clarity, don't underestimate the power of these choices. Your future health begins every morning, the moment you open your eyes. Now, I'd like to hear from you. Which of these 8 habits are already part of your routine, and which ones do you still need to start?
You might believe you're doing everything right to take care of your health. Eating well, walking every day, stretching, and exercising to keep your body active. But what if I told you that some of those seemingly healthy movements could actually increase your risk of stroke? And here's the surprising part. We're not talking about extreme workouts or high-impact sports. We're talking about simple, everyday movements. Bending forward too quickly to pick something up, doing fast sit-ups, holding your breath while lifting weights, or even that yoga pose that feels so relaxing. As we age, our bodies change, and they change a lot. After 60, blood pressure tends to fluctuate more quickly. Balance isn't as reliable. Blood vessels become more sensitive, and the heart demands more care. Movements that once felt harmless can suddenly cause a sudden drop in blood pressure, dizziness, temporary loss of balance, or even trigger a stroke.
As Dr. Vitalius always warns, the right exercise, done the wrong way or at the wrong time, can be just as dangerous as not exercising at all. And don't think this only happens in extreme cases. Scientific studies have shown that seniors who make rapid position changes, perform strength exercises without proper breathing, or hold inverted postures are more vulnerable to blood pressure spikes, reduced oxygen to the brain, and even silent mini-strokes. In the next few minutes, I'll reveal 9 common exercises that can put your brain and cardiovascular health at risk if not done with caution. I'll share medical insights, real-life cases, and most importantly, safer alternatives so you can stay active, strong, and independent without exposing yourself to unnecessary dangers. The first movement that seems harmless but can be risky after 60 is bending forward too quickly. It looks simple, everyday, almost automatic, like picking something up from the floor, putting on your shoes, or tying your laces in a hurry. But this common gesture can trigger a dangerous reaction inside the body. When someone bends forward abruptly, blood rushes suddenly toward the head. In younger people, the body adjusts almost instantly, stabilizing blood pressure and maintaining proper circulation. But in older adults, that compensation mechanism is much slower. The result can be a sudden drop in blood pressure, known as orthostatic hypotension. The symptoms may include dizziness, blurred vision, a sensation of nearly fainting, or even a brief loss of consciousness. And the danger isn't just the discomfort itself. A simple fall can result in head injuries, fractures, and in more serious cases, it can even pave the way for a stroke. A study published in the Journal of the American Geriatric Society found that seniors are significantly more prone to blood pressure drops and dizziness episodes when changing positions quickly. This instability not only raises the risk of falls and injuries, but also increases the chances of neurological complications. I remember the case of a gentleman who bent forward suddenly to grab a box in his garage. He felt dizzy, lost his balance, and fell, hitting his head on the floor. The outcome was a concussion and days of recovery, all caused by what seemed like an ordinary, harmless movement. So how can you protect yourself? The answer lies in how you move. Before bending forward, plant your feet firmly on the ground, bend your knees slightly, and lower yourself slowly. Whenever possible, use support, a chair, a wall, or even a railing. This simple habit allows your body to adjust and prevents sudden blood pressure drops. And remember, there's absolutely no shame in moving slowly or using support. In fact, it's a sign of wisdom and self-care. Every cautious movement is a way to preserve your independence and protect your brain. Many people, when they feel stiffness or pain in the neck, tend to make those quick twists trying to crack the area. It feels simple, maybe even relaxing in the moment, but after the age of 60, this movement can be far more dangerous than you realize. That's because inside your neck run 2 vital arteries called the vertebral arteries. They carry blood directly to the brain, especially to the areas responsible for balance and coordination. When you twist your neck too quickly or too forcefully, those arteries can be compressed or even slightly damaged. The result can be a temporary drop in blood and oxygen flow to the brain. That may cause dizziness, blurred vision, and in more serious cases, it can even trigger a stroke. There's a documented case of a man in his early 60s who suffered a stroke just minutes after doing a stretching routine with rapid neck twists. It wasn't from a fall, it wasn't a car accident, it was simply from turning his neck too abruptly. That's how delicate this region can become as we age. I also remember a woman who used to do neck rolls every morning, believing it helped her loosen up. After a few weeks, she started experiencing frequent dizziness and blurred vision. Once she switched to slower, controlled movements, the symptoms completely disappeared. The safer way is always with gentle, deliberate movements. No snapping, no sudden twists. If your neck feels stiff, try warm compresses, light stretches, and if the discomfort persists, seek professional guidance. Your neck is one of the main pathways carrying oxygen to your brain, and any careless movement can turn into an unnecessary risk.
Strength training can be a powerful ally for your health after 60. It strengthens your muscles, improves posture, boosts independence, and even helps protect your bones against osteoporosis. But there's one very common mistake, often unnoticed, that can turn a workout into a real risk: lifting weights while holding your breath. This habit is so common that many people don't even realize they're doing it. At the moment of effort, they instinctively hold their breath, believing it gives them more strength. This is called the Valsalva maneuver. The problem is that when you do this, the pressure inside your chest and head rises rapidly. For younger people, the body can usually handle this, but after 60, especially if you already have high blood pressure or fragile blood vessels, that sudden spike can be dangerous. The heart is forced to pump against much greater resistance, and the brain's blood vessels are placed under intense strain. The risks include dizziness, fainting, and in more serious cases, even ruptured vessels leading to a stroke. A study from the American Heart Association found that sudden blood pressure surges during strength exercises, particularly when combined with breath holding, were linked to a higher risk of brain hemorrhages in older adults. I recall the story of a retired firefighter who continued to train regularly at his local gym. One day, he decided to challenge himself with a heavier bench press. In the middle of the lift, he held his breath tightly. He felt intense pressure in his head, became dizzy, and nearly blacked out. Later, he learned that he had dangerously spiked his blood pressure simply by holding his breath under strain. The solution is simple but essential. Always breathe during exercise. Exhale as you lift the weight. Inhale as you lower it. Never hold your breath. This technique protects your heart, keeps circulation stable, and drastically reduces the risk of complications. If you enjoy training, that's great, keep going. But do it safely. Use weights that challenge you but that you can control. And whenever possible, seek guidance from a professional who understands how the aging body responds differently. Exercise is health, but it has to be done with awareness. The difference between strengthening your body and putting it at risk may be as simple as remembering to breathe. At first glance, these poses seem to bring well-being. The idea is simple: flip the body upside down to stimulate circulation and increase oxygen to the brain. But the reality is very different. When you place yourself upside down, blood rushes toward your head, causing increased pressure inside the skull. In younger, healthier people, the body can usually adapt to this. But after 60, with more fragile blood vessels and a higher risk of hypertension, that extra pressure can be dangerous. Reported symptoms include intense headaches, blurred vision, pressure behind the eyes, and in more serious cases, even small strokes. Neurologists have documented cases of seniors who developed visual disturbances and mini-stroke-like symptoms after frequently practicing these poses. One striking example was a woman who practiced the shoulder stand every morning. After several weeks, she began experiencing pounding headaches and pressure behind her eyes. When she saw her doctor, she discovered that the increased intracranial pressure caused by the pose was putting her health at risk. Once she switched to gentler stretches, her symptoms disappeared. But this doesn't mean that yoga should be avoided. The key is to choose safer alternatives. Instead of positions that place the entire body upside down, restorative poses can be used, like the well-known legs up the wall. This movement also supports circulation, but without the danger of overloading the blood vessels in the head. And don't forget, always let your instructor know about your age, your medical history, and especially any blood pressure or circulation problems. This way, they can adapt the practice to your needs. In short, yoga can absolutely be a powerful ally for healthy aging, but some poses need to be avoided or replaced. The important thing is to respect your body's limits and remember that healthy movement is the one that strengthens, not the one that puts your life at risk. At first, these poses seem to bring well-being. The idea is simple. Flip the body upside down to stimulate circulation and increase oxygen to the brain. But the reality is very different. When you place yourself upside down, blood rushes toward your head, causing increased pressure inside the skull. In younger, healthier people, the body can usually adapt to this. But after 60, with more fragile blood vessels and a higher risk of hypertension, that extra pressure can be dangerous. Reported symptoms include intense headaches, blurred vision, pressure behind the eyes, and in more serious cases, even small strokes. Neurologists have documented cases of seniors who developed visual disturbances and mini-stroke-like symptoms after frequently practicing these poses. One striking example was a woman who practiced the shoulder stand every morning. After several weeks, she began experiencing pounding headaches and pressure behind her eyes. When she saw her doctor, she discovered that the increased intracranial pressure caused by the pose was putting her health at risk. Once she switched to gentler stretches, her symptoms disappeared. But this doesn't mean that yoga should be avoided. The key is to choose safer alternatives. Instead of positions that place the entire body upside down, restorative poses can be used, like the well-known legs up the wall. This movement also supports circulation, but without the danger of overloading the blood vessels in the head. And don't forget, always let your instructor know about your age, your medical history, and especially any blood pressure or circulation problems. This way they can adapt the practice to your needs. In short, yoga can absolutely be a powerful ally for healthy aging, but some poses need to be avoided or replaced. The important thing is to respect your body's limits and remember that healthy movement is the one that strengthens, not the one that puts your life at risk. For decades, sit-ups were seen as one of the most important exercises to strengthen the core, improve posture, and even prevent back pain. Many of us grew up believing that doing hundreds of sit-ups was the ultimate sign of health and fitness. But after the age of 60, the reality is very different. Certain fast abdominal movements can carry serious risks for circulation and even the brain. Here's why. When you perform traditional sit-ups, especially rapid, repetitive ones, your body experiences a sudden spike in pressure inside your chest and abdomen. This effect becomes even more intense if you hold your breath while doing them. That pressure surge interferes with blood flow, making it harder for oxygen to reach the brain. Think of it like squeezing a garden hose. For a few seconds, the flow slows down or even stops. In the body, this can translate into dizziness, blurred vision, or even fainting. Researchers in the American Journal of Physical Medicine and Rehabilitation found that rapid abdominal exercises in older adults were linked to temporary decreases in blood flow to the brain, especially when done without enough rest between sets. I remember a gentleman at a community wellness class who used to feel lightheaded and disoriented every time he performed quick sit-ups. His doctor explained that the pressure created during those exercises was reducing blood flow to his brain. Once he switched to slower, controlled core movements, the problem disappeared completely.
But that doesn't mean you should give up on core strength. The key is to choose adapted, controlled exercises. Movements like pelvic tilts while lying down, seated leg lifts, or even gentle seated marches are safe and effective ways to strengthen your core without overloading your circulation. The golden rule is simple. Always breathe through the movement. Never hold your breath. Move slowly and with control. Listen to your body's signals. After 60, the goal isn't to six-pack. The goal is to strengthen your center safely, protecting your posture, balance, and independence in daily life. The treadmill is often seen as one of the safest, most practical ways to exercise. After all, it doesn't depend on the weather, it doesn't require much space, and it allows you to control both speed and incline. But after the age of 60, there's a hidden danger: running too fast on the treadmill without holding on to the side rails. As we age, our reaction time slows down and our coordination isn't as sharp as it once was. When someone runs at high speed without support, even a small misstep can lead to a serious accident. A tiny slip can result in a hard fall, causing fractures, head injuries, or in those with cardiovascular conditions, even triggering a stroke or cardiac event. Data from the National Institutes of Health, NIH, shows that seniors are among the groups with the highest rate of treadmill-related accidents, and in many cases the reason was simple: they weren't using the safety rails. Even brief moments of instability can place dangerous stress on the heart, especially for those with high blood pressure or fragile blood vessels. I recall the story of a 70-year-old man who ran on the treadmill every morning, always hands-free. One day, a minor trip turned into a major accident, and he fell hard, suffering a head injury. His doctor later commented that simply keeping his hands lightly on the rails could likely have prevented the fall. This doesn't mean you need to avoid the treadmill. The key is learning how to use it safely. Choose a steady, moderate pace that allows you to stay in control. If you feel the slightest instability, use the side rails. And here's an important tip. Instead of running at high speeds, try walking on an incline. You'll get a strong cardiovascular workout with far fewer risks. Remember, safety always comes first. After all, exercising to improve your health is only worthwhile if it also keeps you safe from avoidable accidents. The plank is without a doubt one of the most popular exercises in the fitness world. It strengthens the core, improves posture, stabilizes the spine, and requires no equipment at all. But after the age of 60, holding the plank too long, especially if you hold your breath while doing it, can turn into a silent danger for your heart and brain. When you're in a plank position, all your muscles are working intensely to stabilize your body. That effort increases pressure inside your abdomen and chest. And if you also hold your breath, which is very common and almost automatic during this exercise, your blood pressure can spike sharply, interfering with normal circulation. It's like tightening a valve that your heart has to push against. The result? A sudden rise in blood pressure, reduced blood flow to the brain, and symptoms like dizziness, headaches, or even near fainting. Research published in the Journal of Strength and Conditioning Research found that breath holding during isometric exercises like planks caused dangerous increases in systolic blood pressure, even in well-trained adults. Now imagine the risk for older adults with fragile blood vessels or pre-existing hypertension. I recall the story of a 70-year-old man who ran on the treadmill every morning, always hands-free. One day, a minor trip turned into a major accident, and he fell hard, suffering a head injury. His doctor later commented that simply keeping his hands lightly on the rails could likely have prevented the fall. This solution is simple and effective. Stick to short sets of 20 to 30 seconds. Breathe continuously and deeply throughout the exercise. Rest between sets and never push past your limit. That way you keep all the benefits of the plank without putting your cardiovascular system at risk. After 60, it's not about how long you can hold the pose. It's about staying strong and healthy with safety first. Standing up and sitting down seems like the simplest thing in the world, something we do dozens of times every day. But when this movement turns into exercise, like doing fast squats or repeated sit-to-stand routines, it can be a serious risk factor for falls and even strokes in people over 60. The problem lies in what doctors call postural hypotension. When you change positions quickly, your body needs to adjust circulation to compensate for gravity. In younger people, this adjustment happens almost instantly, but as we age, that response slows down. That means when you stand up too quickly, your brain may not receive enough blood in that moment, causing dizziness, blurred vision, or even fainting.
Studies published in the Journal of the American Medical Association show that older adults who change positions rapidly are significantly more likely to report dizziness and to suffer falls, often leading to serious injuries such as fractures or head trauma. I recall a friend who decided to add fast-paced squats to his morning routine, thinking it would help him stay agile. Within days, he began experiencing intense dizziness right after exercising, sometimes nearly losing his balance. Once he slowed his pace and added pauses between each repetition, the symptoms disappeared. The good news is that this exercise doesn't need to be eliminated. In fact, movements like squats are excellent for maintaining strength and mobility, but the key lies in how you perform them. Stand up gradually without rushing. Breathe steadily throughout the movement. Don't hold your breath. If you feel unstable, support yourself with a chair or a sturdy surface. After 60, it's not about speed, it's about safety and consistency. Performing simple movements with awareness may be the key to maintaining independence and preventing dangerous falls. We've now reached the end of our list of 9 exercises and movements that may increase the risk of stroke or falls after the age of 60. And let me be clear, this is not about being afraid of exercise. Quite the opposite. Movement is one of the greatest tools we have to preserve health, independence, and quality of life at any age. But as we get older, our bodies respond differently. Blood pressure changes faster, balance isn't as stable, and circulation requires extra care. That's why awareness is the very first step toward protection. Small adjustments make a huge difference. Breathing correctly, respecting your limits, avoiding sudden movements, and choosing safer alternatives. Remember, it's not about doing more, it's about doing better. The right exercise at the right time, performed the right way, can become one of your strongest allies against aging. If this video helped you see your routine in a new light, share it with someone you care about. And don't forget to subscribe to Longevity, because every week we bring you valuable tips to help you live healthier, stronger, and safer after 60. Taking care of your body is taking care of your life, and every conscious choice you make today opens the door to a stronger and healthier tomorrow. See you in the next video.